Hello everyone and welcome back to SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 3rd February 2018. My name is Kralzets and I will be your host for the evening. Today we got only 2 news topics for you, but both of them are quite serious considering the scope of the gaming industry. First, we're going to talk about the fact that an old Donkey Kong score has been removed from the leaderboards because of a huge controversy. And secondly, we're going to talk about the fact that Counter-Strike's co-creator was arrested for some pedophilic activities. Yeah, today's topics are just awful. Let's start with Donkey Kong, as that's actually the better topic today. So, the person who has the nickname King of Kong, Billy Mitchell, has been knocked off the Donkey Kong leaderboards because it seems he was probably cheating. And how exactly he was cheating? Well, there are 2 ways to play Donkey Kong. Either you can use the original arcade, or you can use an emulator called MAME, M-A-M-E. I'm not sure how exactly it's pronounced. But if you play in the arcade, nobody really questions your scores, as it's a machine, it works in a certain way, it has very specific hardware that works in a very specific way, and you really don't have options to cheat. Or you do, but not so many. With an emulator, the story is quite different. So, to clarify this, on the emulator, there is a file that is named something.nip. And this NIP file is essentially a recording of the whole play session, including all the inputs, everything that was performed in the game. You know, it's exactly a perfect replica of how you played. And when you submit your record to the leaderboard, you have to provide this EMP file as well. And if you are actually doing a world record through one of these simulators, your gameplay is much more scrutinized. Everything is checked so people can be sure you haven't cheated. And Mr. Mitchell has been discovered to be using this emulator without actually telling the leaderboard keepers, which sort of puts him in a position where, well, yeah, you had a very nice score, but we don't really know if you cheated or not. And there are quite a lot of evidence that is pointing towards the fact that he has actually possibly been cheating. The majority of his scores come from smashing the blue barrels, which add quite a lot more score to your game than normal you would get. So if I just take a quick look, there's a table here with people with different scores. So Mr. Billy Mitchell here has, for example, 98 blue smashes on the conveyor. The person that has a higher score than him, remember that, has 32. On the river level, he has 126. That's still more than anybody else on that list. Like, literally has the highest numbers of these extra scores than anybody else, apart from Mr. Graham Hawkins, but that's the average per this smash. So he has actually gotten more because he's gotten better scores. But Mitchell's total score for these smashes is 186,400. And the person straight above him has 40,000 less points on this. If you go and look at the percentage of the actual score, it's 17.7%. The first person, the best guy with the highest score, has 14.8%, and he's the second best. That's a 3% differential where everybody else is within 1% essentially. So this has been sort of looked like, yeah, he probably used some shady things to actually make himself appear at that position on the leaderboard. People have discovered that he has actually been using emulator because some people are just crazy about these old games and they can see the tiniest, like, not this tiny, like this tiny, you know, like completely invisible. But they can just see them. One example is, I'm reading this off PCGamer.com. Another main behavior is that word pointing out is rotation. Although we see Donkey Kong in the correct orientation when we play on a real cabinet, the video is actually generated on its side with the top of the screen being on the right hand side. MAME also emulates this incorrectly. Billy's 1.47 million and 1.05 million games show the incorrect rotation. Seriously, these guys are just insane at some points. Like, how the fuck do you notice that? Oh, I understand how, you just know the ins and outs, but I cannot imagine being that crazy into a single game that you would actually be able to notice this. But in the end, I think we were going to see more and more of these quote-unquote scandals come out in the future as more people will try to add their scores to the leaderboards, and actually more people will be able to notice slight little differences used or slight little inconsistencies used that actually allowed you to get the better score. I don't remember the name of the game. There was another guy who was taken off the leaderboards because he cheated. Here we don't actually have a proof that he cheated, because they're really you don't know. Actually, Mr. Young, who is one of the people who takes care of the leaderboards, he said, "It's possible that they were recorded in one shot. Given the playstyle in Billy's video, it's more likely that Vanilla MAME's IMP recording feature was abused, in which a person can re-record an IMP as many times as they wish to craft their desired performance." So, yeah, it's just weird. There was also a little quote by Mr. Wes Copeland, who currently has the second highest score in Donkey Kong, who offered a bit more insight. MAME scores have a different means of verification to ensure that save stats, pauses, and replay splices aren't used. As a result, any score that is MAME does not fit these adjudication standards must be disqualified. And I agree with him. Just, people, if you're trying to go actually for a world record, whether it's in a score, whether it's in a speed run, or whether it's like in the number of jumps you can perform during 1 second, I don't know, don't cheat. It will come out eventually. Okay, let's move on to our second piece of news. This one will be probably slightly faster, as there isn't that much technical stuff to go through. There's actually no technical stuff. But it is actually much more horrifying. Counter-Strike's co-creator, Jess Life, was arrested for sexual exploitation of a child. He has obviously been suspended by Valve and is currently awaiting a bail hearing. Yeah, what's he even saying? At the moment, obviously, we don't really know if he did anything like that. We don't know what child he supposedly exploited. We don't know pretty much anything. But it seems to indicate that some child porn has been involved. Yeah. Sadly, there will always be people like this. And the only thing we can do is educate our children about the risks. Try to get these people help, because they usually belong in a mental institution at the very least, or they need help to overcome their urges. And if they actually do something to hurt a child, we should send them to prison. Or, ideally, in my opinion, castrate them at the very least. I'm not sure whether I would kill them, though if they actually hurt children, by I mean like physically hurt, then yeah. Oh, sorry about that. But obviously, sexual misuse of children is wrong. I don't think anybody would claim that it isn't. And if you would, then you're fucking dumb and you should probably punch yourself in the head repeatedly until you get some sense into your brain. And the fact that we don't treat these people, I think, correctly in most Western societies. I'm actually glad to say here in Czech Republic we do. We castrate pedophiles, you know, because otherwise, well, they will probably do it again. They cannot help it. It's a mental disorder. Their brain is wired in a way that they are attracted to small children. They are not attracted to adults. And the sexual... what's the word? The sexual drive in your body is so strong that it's close to impossible to overcome. And castration, whether it's chemical castration or physical castration by removing the body's hormone system, is literally one of the few ways you can actually help these people. Because they don't need psychological treatment, well, they probably do as well. They don't need to be thrown into prison unless they actually physically violate a child. What they need is a way to remove their sexual drive. And the only way I know of doing that is castration. At least for men. I don't know actually for women, to be honest. And surprisingly, over the years, we've been seeing more and more women actually abusing children. So I'm hoping there's a solution for them as well. And no, it's not a case of, oh, I wish I had this teacher that would fuck me in school as well. No. Children just aren't prepared to deal with that sort of thing. Whether you like it or not. It's just no. So either lock these people away in a mental institution, lock them away in prison, or castrate them. That's literally the only three options I see. Nothing else should be even on the table. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, even though it was much more serious and much less optimistic than I would hope it to be. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're watching this on Steam, maybe you want to upvote. Either way, you should subscribe or follow this channel. Be sure to leave a comment. And be sure to tune in tomorrow, because we are your daily source of daily gaming news every single day. Hopefully tomorrow we will have something more positive. And that's it for today, so see you guys later with more gaming content.